Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, where it's all about creating the life you want, the business you want, and making a real difference. Join us in unlocking the code to true success. And now your host, Tony Caliendo, Master Coach with Rethink Coaching.
Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, episode number 28. I'm Tony Caliendo with Rethink Coaching. And as always, I want to thank you for sharing your time with me today. I say this and I mean it. Time is our most valuable gift. You can't buy more of it. You can't make more of it. So the fact that you're sharing what you have with me does not go unnoticed. So thank you for being here. Today, gosh, I'm coming at you again from gorgeous Santa Fe. And it was funny. I think I jinxed myself last week. I was talking about allergies and felt like spring was coming. Well, we had snow this morning. So sometimes Mother Nature has a way of showing us what's really going to happen. So here we are. But today, team, I want to talk to you about something. I have the privilege of coaching really successful entrepreneurs across the country in Canada and spending time with them in their businesses, whether it's real estate, whether it's coaching, whether it's book writing, whatever it is, spending some time. And my observations as of late have been a little bit interesting. And I want to share a story with you and I want to share my thoughts with you. I think because of what we have been through, you think about our world pre-COVID, right? Things were pretty normal. We talked about this in the last podcast. The economy was doing really well, and we were on a long streak of great things. And things were moving at us at really a fast pace. And then COVID happened and everything, I say this and it didn't, but everything changed. A lot of things changed, right? A lot of the things of how we approach business for those of us who are in an industry where we had in-person contact and we were service providers. It was a very uncertain time for us because we didn't know how we were going to do it. I think about my really successful real estate clients. It's hard to sell a house to someone if you can't physically be in the house with them. Yes, we can do some video, but nothing replaces actually being in the home and having those consultations. So I think about how that changed and the impact that had. And then we came out of COVID, which was a crazy busy time, and we entered into a time where things were okay, and then a lot of stuff changed again. And I think because of that, in fact, I know because of that, we got very short-sighted and we turned into a survival mode versus a thriving mode. So we turned into this, how do I just get through this new world of doing business during COVID? How do we navigate? What do we need to pivot? How do we do? And we became very focused on just getting through that time period. And then the other change, really the same thing is kind of happening. And so why am I saying this? I'm saying this because I feel like we have, I don't feel like it, I know that we have lost sight of casting an exciting, compelling future. We've lost sight of creating our life by intention, our life by design, and we're living a very short-sighted existence right now. So I think back to my days. So I've shared this with you guys before I entered into the lane that I'm in now. I was in corporate America with a phenomenal company called Marriott Hotels, and I had a great career with them. And I remember, so I started off taking reservations on an 800 number in Omaha, Nebraska. All right, that's where my career started, ended up being GM and regional and some fun stuff in between. But here's what I knew. I had a real passion for the hotel hospitality industry because I loved creating an experience for people. I loved it. And creating that experience was a lot of fun to do on a really big platform or big stage, like a really nice hotel with gorgeous rooms and amenities and all the restaurants and shops and spa and gym and all that stuff. And here's what I knew. I knew the day that I took the job making $8 an hour as a reservation agent that I wanted to become a general manager of my own hotel. I knew that. And I knew that there was a gap of time in between. And I can remember having a conversation with one of my mentor managers at the time. And she said, I guarantee you, once you get to the property level, you'll be a GM in less than 5 years. And we had a conversation about that. And we had a conversation about what that would look like, what it would be. And I got to imagine myself running my own hotel, and creating that space for myself to live that dream of creating an experience for people and all of the great employees and all of the stuff. So I really, at that time, I didn't call it my compelling future. But what Lori, who was the manager at the time, did with me is she did not realize she was helping me create my compelling future. Now, here's what happened. I left my job in Omaha, Nebraska as a reservation agent on the 800 number and transferred to a hotel in Dallas, Texas as a salesperson, a sales manager. And Lori was not far off when she and I compiled and put together my compelling future. I was a GM in just shy of 5 years, just shy of 5 years. So it's amazing how creating that compelling future gave me a clear direction on where I intended to be. And the excitement around what that was going to look like when I got there was such a driving force for me to be able to stay focused and to get through some not so pleasant times or positions or experiences, but I knew where I was headed and my brain knew where I was headed. And so we were able to navigate and deal with all of the things along the way. Now, I knew that I wasn't going to go from a reservation agent to a sales manager to a GM. I knew there was a lot of stuff that was going to have to happen in between. And I started plotting it out. Like, okay, after being a sales manager, next step would be being a director of sales and then moving into some operations. But I just couldn't manifest that to happen because I had to earn the position. So I had to master the job I was in. Then a position had to become available. So I couldn't just say, well, I'm ready for a director of sales position. So now my director of sales, Michelle, you just got to need to leave because I'm ready to be a director and it's on my plan. A lot of stuff had to happen, but it did. And because again, I held on to that dream of being a GM in 5 years, it happened. And I think had I not done that, had I just gone off to be a sales manager in Dallas, I don't know where I would have ended up with my career with the company. I really don't, because there were so many different things that happened, and uh, you really had to want to do it to work the long hours, to deal with some grumpy people, staffing issues, budget constraints. We had stuff too that we had to deal with. And without that clear vision, I don't know where I would have ended up. I don't know if I would have quit out of frustration because was I going to be a sales manager for the rest of my life? And I'm not judging that because there's plenty of people who do that. Just for me, that wouldn't have lasted. And so having that vision got me through some challenging times. I think that's what's missing right now for us as entrepreneurs. And so for all of my one-on-one clients, I'm challenging us all to get back on track with what is that 5-year compelling future. Because if we stay in 2024 and just focus so much on, we got to get through this year. And once I get to December of this year, I'm going to start working on my plan for the next 12 months. You're robbing yourself of greatness. You just are. I mean, at the end of 12 months, if you only make another 12-month plan, you're robbing yourself of incredible greatness. If I only made the plan to become a sales manager, and at the end of the year, I'd be like, okay, so what do I want to do next? And I would have thought, well, I'm not sure. So I'm just going to focus on this next 12 months and being a really good sales manager. I did that for another 12 months. And at the end of that year, I said, okay, what do I want to do now? Well, now I want to move to be a director. Okay, well, now I've got to do all of this stuff to get there. I would have delayed my becoming a director by 2 years. I had a compelling future. I knew what was going to have to happen in between to get me to that compelling future. It's no different than being an entrepreneur owning your own business. If we focus on just getting through the next 12 months, that's what we're going to do. We're going to get through the next 12 months. And then we're going to be faced with casting our next 12 months. And if we're not thinking big enough now, that next 12 months may just be a slight improvement upon what we did this year. So sit back and think about what is it? What is your compelling future? And so what do I mean by that? So if we were through the magic of TV to be able to sit in my living room. I've invited you to my house and said, okay, we're going to watch a show. And this show is all about you. And it is going to show your life. So 5 years from today, guys, it's March 8th, 2024. So 5 years from today would be March 8th, 2025. It is going to show your life on March 8th of 2029. Sorry, of 2029. And we're going to get to watch what you're doing. And here's the cool part. You decided what you were going to do. You sat and created what you wanted your future to be, and now we're going to watch it together. That's the coolest thing ever, and that's what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to sit with creating your compelling future with no judgment and no focused on how. When we watch that film, nothing about, or we watch that TV show, nothing about it is going to be on the exact steps you took to get there. It's just going to be on you living that life, your business, your life, your family, your friends, whatever. It's just going to show you experiencing the vision that you cast for yourself in 5 years. That's what I want you to do. Our natural inclination is to be, some of us are a little shy about it. Like, oof, it's kind of aggressive to think I can do that. And what would people think? And who am I to? And oh my gosh, I'm going to have to do all of this stuff in between. I just want you to stop it. I want you to remove all judgment. I want you to remove all strategy. I want you to remove all how. The how is the biggest dream killer in this situation. I want you to remove that and just think, what do I want my business and my life to be in 5 years? And so some of us, this is going to be really easy. We can write out what we want our business to be. So just an example. Let's say you're making $300,000 a year right now, and that's been pretty consistent for you for the past couple of years. And you decide at the end of 5 years, you're going to net $5 million. Okay. And that is where you want to be. Now, some of us may be like, is that really realistic? Could I really do 5? Should I make it smaller? And if I tell anybody about this, are they going to think, I just want you to stop it? If you want to net $5 million, that's your vision, period. And when I make $5 million, this is what my business is going to feel like. And this is what me is going to feel like. And we just spend some time creating that out and dreaming and fantasizing and creating that without any judgment, without any how. That is going to be your biggest dream killer if you do that. So just sit in creating what you want it to be. Don't worry about anything else. Don't. This is the time for you to spend to create a clear path for your brain to get you from reservation agent to GM in 5 years, to get you from $300,000 a year to $5 million in 5 years. This is you creating a glide path for yourself to get there. We're going to worry about the how later. So spend some time creating that 5 year and allow yourself to experience the emotion of that, the excitement, the joy, just all of the feels that come along with seeing yourself living in that space, both from your business and your personal life. Now, if you're struggling with this, and some people do, you might have to turn it into a story or a narrative. And you might have to say, you know what, today is March 8th, 2029. And I'm reflecting on my business right now. This is so amazing of what I've been able to accomplish. I am, and you start writing it as if it's already happened. I just closed out my best year and I netted $5 million. And because I netted $5 million, it's allowed me to do the following things with my business. And it's allowed me to do the following in my life with my friends, my family, my charities. You just go and you write it as if it's already happened, and you allow yourself to stay in that space. This is not a 2-minute exercise. So this is not have your phone out with texts coming in and direct messages coming in, kids coming in, phone ringing. This is a secluding yourself into a think tank where you can spend some time thinking about this and creating that space. All right. And do that, get it out and feel great about it. And then we're going to go back to our current year and we're going to look at our goals and we're going to forecast is as that is our compelling future for this year. So we're going to go to the end of this year, we'll say, and do the same thing. Hey, I've achieved my goal. This is the impact on my business. This is the impact on my life. And now we're going to have this gap in between year 1 and year 5. And this is where it gets to be really fun. You start to build a ladder, if you will, to go from where we are at 300,000 to where we intend to be at 5 million. And you start to build in the path forward. So we're not going to say I'm going to do 300,000 this year, next year, the third year, the fourth year, and then magically the fifth year I'm going to do 5 million. We're a gradual climb. So 300 this year, 600, 1.2, 2.4 to 5. You can build it out however you want, but you start to build those stair steps in, and you start building your compelling future for your second year, your third year, and your fourth year, which leads you to your fifth year. This, again, is not a 5-minute exercise. When I did this personally this year, and I do it every year, when I did it this year and I sat with it, it took me hours to do it. And I will tell you, it went by in a blink because it was so powerful that I was creating my future by intention and not by default. So my old coach used to say, by design or by default. I was creating the path for my life that I desire and that I wanted to have by intention, not by default. When I looked up at the time, I was shocked that a couple hours went by. I did it away from my home. I did it with headphones on in a space that I wouldn't be interrupted and nobody knew me. And I just went to town. Now, I'm going to say this, and I mean this. This is not an exercise you do and then we put away. And in 5 years, we go, oh, let's take out that piece of paper and see how we did. This is something you do all the time. My current coach has a great acronym, ATFT, all the effing time. This is one of those things that you will look at all the flipping time. Not just at the end of the year when you're looking at your goals and you're looking at your actuals. Oh, how did I do? This is a daily activity. Every morning when I'm journaling, I look at my compelling future. If it's a rough day or it's been a challenging week, I look at my 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5-year compelling future. And honestly, that excites me when I do that. So this is something you need to do all of the time. And when you do that, it starts reinforcing in your brain, here is the direction we're going. Here is the direction we're going. When I was with Marriott, I knew exactly. I was a reservation agent, sales manager, senior sales manager, director of sales, assistant GM, GM. That was my path forward. Now, I did it in record time. I didn't stay in positions for 2 years at a time. I would get in, kick ass because I knew my next position. I knew what I needed to do to get there, and I knew what it was going to be like when I became that next role. And I was living as if it already happened. And that helped me expedite to get to that position in what I consider to be record time. And you can do the same thing with your entrepreneur business, your real estate business, whatever you are in, you can do the exact same thing if you stay on top of what your compelling future is. There are going to be days, or there might be people that you share it with that poo-poo you. Screw them. They are insecure with their future. And if you are breaking a cycle of an economic ceiling in your family, generationally, or culturally, or geographically, screw it. It doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want to do. I came from Omaha, Nebraska, and I ended up creating this incredible life that I have right now. I knew part of my compelling future when Reagan and I sat down and did this. It was 2015. We put together a compelling future that we would be able to leave Texas and be there part-time, or create this life where we wanted to live. And we created a compelling future, and I'm living it. I'm in Santa Fe, New Mexico, one of my favorite cities on the planet. And I get to be here when I want to be here for as long as I want to be here because I created it. I can go to California when I want to go to California for however long I want to go to California. We've created our compelling future, and because we were clear on where we were going, we had a clear glide path to get to it. The really cool thing when you do this and you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5-year compelling future is that the stuff that comes at us, COVID, economic, election year, all the stuff that comes at us that could impact us if we're only looking at it right now, don't matter as much because it's just you're moving through it. You're not stuck in it. You're moving through it on your way to bigger things. So this is not a one and done. It is not a one and done. And there have been times where I've been thinking about my compelling future and I plus it in the moment that I'm doing it. Ooh, and I could also do this. Or, oh, didn't think about this. This is awesome. And I might plus my compelling future. I wouldn't do that if I did it and put it away. So I'm going to invite you to block some time this week because here we are, March 8th. And if we are only focused on our 12-month goal, you are selling yourself short. You just are. You're selling yourself short of the greatness that you could achieve. And to have 5 years to do it, think about where you were 5 years ago and where you are now. A lot has happened in between. And you've most likely grown. You're most likely at a different income level. You're most likely living a different life than you did 5 years ago. You might be doing the same thing, but it's changed. The difference is you get to choose what you want it to be. So sit with that. I did it I know this is going to be shocking. I did it in my journal and I did it pen and paper. And then I tore those pages out and I have them with me. And I did my 5-year compelling future on me and then my different businesses. And I wrote out exactly where I saw myself physically, my style, just, my health. I really broke it down. And then I did my compelling future for the different businesses that I operate. And I did that and created that space. And I will tell you, the second I do that, all the minutia, all the little stuff that happens that would be big things are little things because I know where I'm headed. It creates a calm and a sense of peace for your brain. Because remember, your brain is looking for certainty. That's the number one basic human need. Your brain is constantly looking for certainty. I just gave it certainty. I let it know where we were going to be in 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, and at the end of this year. I created a space of certainty. It's now calm and happy, and it knows where we're headed. I put in the GPS coordinates. It's like, here we go. Now, once I do that, right, I can't just say, okay, that's where I'm going. Now the work then begins. And I start now looking at the how. How am I going to do it? And I start breaking it into strategies, both business and thought strategies. But I do not do that until I've completed my year 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5-year compelling future. Then I allow myself to think about the how. Because remember, if you do the how while you're doing your compelling future, it is the biggest dream killer. So you save the how until we're done. And then how often are you going to look at it? ATFT, all the flipping time. And you may have to look at it multiple times throughout the day. That is creating certainty for your brain when you do that. So friends, do yourself a favor. Enjoy doing this. Enjoy the journey of what it's going to look like for you in 5 years, because 5 years is going to happen anyway. It might as well happen the way that you would like it to happen. As always, if you're doing this, you get stuck, you need help, you can always reach out to me. Social media is probably the quickest way to get me. You can message me directly on Instagram, Tony M, like Martin Caliendo. Tony M Caliendo is my Instagram handle. I'm on Facebook. You can email Tony at rethinkcoaching.com. But really the quickest way to get a response from me is social media direct message. Do yourself a favor. Create your path. Create your vision. Create your 5 years. I promise you're going to thank me. And I would love to hear from some of you as to what you've created. So if you are up for sharing, send me a note and tell me what your 5-year plan looks like, what your 5-year compelling future is. Set the tone, set the pace, create whatever you want. You can have whatever goal that you set. I promise you can. You got to know what it is first. All right, go enjoy, go create that compelling future. We'll see you next week. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you must come check out the Mindset Architect Group Coaching Program. It's our monthly program where we explore the power of your mindset, help you identify what you truly want in business and life, and then help you reach those goals. Come check us out at rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. That's rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. We'll see you there.